Now, I just did a post where this woman is over 40, child free, and single. She lives alone and she loves it. And juxtapose that with this post. She says, "Am I overreacting for piling all the dirty dishes in front of the TV?" This woman is 29 years old. She has 3 kids and an able-bodied husband in the home. Now, imagine which one is more stressful, having to do this pettiness to prove a point, or someone that can live and do all that she wants to, when she wants to, how she wants to. So many people try to shame single women or child-free women. They're like, "You're going to be alone. You're going to just end up with your cats and blah blah blah." But then we see behind the curtain. Now, I couldn't imagine doing anything like this. I couldn't. But imagine where her stress level had to be to get to this point, to stack up dishes like this, take a picture, and post it on Reddit. All right, let's look at her caption. She says, so she's 29, he's 33. They have been married for 12 years. She married this man when she was 17 years old. So she had to go straight from her parents' house to living with this man. So that is literally all that she knows. And maybe she's just getting tired of this. So she says, "My husband and I have been married for 12 years and we have 3 kids in elementary school. He works from 2 to 11 from home. I work full time outside the house as a nanny and housekeeper. I spend about 12 hours a day on my feet cleaning and taking care of kids between work and home, which is fine. Because of his hours, I do 90% of parenting alone. The trouble is, he has never participated in keeping our home clean and running it before. Recently, I told him I was exhausted and needed him to pick up a household chore and be solely responsible for it to take some weight off of me. He chose dishes. Since then, my life is brimming with dirty dishes. I have offered to teach him how to do them efficiently. I have tried to help him figure out when he can do them because he says he's too busy. I have done a load or two to help him get on top of it. But now the standard in my home is that every single dish in my house is dirty, piled high in the sink and covering all the counter space. He does dishes once about every 10 days. I can't get my kitchen clean. I can't cook. Everything I need to cook with for our family is dirty. He feels like I'm making a big deal out of nothing. He says, "Just tell me what dishes you need clean for this recipe and I'll wash them." He literally said that about Thanksgiving dinner, that he didn't need to do all the dishes, just the ones I plan to use. I was doing dishes and cooking until past midnight the day before Thanksgiving while he sat on the couch chatting with his mom. I have cried and pleaded and offered to teach and told him this is a really huge deal and nothing changes. He recently started a Twitch channel as a potential side hustle. He has like 10 followers and has been very consistent and put in a lot of effort to make his channel successful. He stays up most nights until 5 a.m., chilling or streaming or editing for his stream. And I can respect a side hustle. I think it's great. But he is refusing to do the one thing he said he would take care of in a house he never leaves. And he has several hours of uninterrupted time where he could do just 30 minutes of dishes a night and make my life so much easier. But instead, he says, "I can't do the dishes. I have to do blank for my stream." I am bone tired. I'm tired of feeling disrespected and ignored. My home and family are suffering because of his refusal to do the dishes regularly. So tonight, when he said he can't do any dishes at all because he had planned to stream, after I put the kids to bed, I piled all the dirty dishes in the living room in front of the TV for his stream. I know he will be big mad about it, but I don't feel like he is understanding how deeply disgusting and difficult it is to live in a house with only dirty dishes. He doesn't he doesn't go to the kitchen now because it's gross. I don't have that luxury. I have children to feed. Seems to me he should spend some quality time with his choices. Am I overreacting? Okay, so this woman has been with this man all of her 20s. He has taken all of her 20s. No, she gave him all the 20s. And maybe she is now waking up to this, that maybe maybe she doesn't want to spend the rest of her life with this because it has created this situation where she is recognizing that there's an issue. She has addressed the issue. He doesn't care to change. So now she's going to be at the point of, what do I do next? Am I going to live with somebody who just does not care, who doesn't mind spending their life in chaos and dirty dishes because nasty? She's going to have to make some changes because she sees that she's working overtime because she has to work outside the home and inside the home. And there's an able bodied adult in the home that's just not pulling his weight. He says, not going to do it. So, for all the people that keep trying to convince women to get married, this is the married single mom trope that people keep talking about, because the women are simply doing it alone, regardless of if they are married or not. That's the thing. So many people look at these statistics like this many single mothers and this many married mothers. Okay, cool, bet. That does not change all of the work that the mothers are doing if the man is in the home and not participating. So this person named Royal Ad says, well, he was 17 when they got married, never grew up. And she says, no, I was 17, he was 21, still really young, but let's not get that mixed up. And then Music Life says, OP, consider switching to paper and plastic, not to give him a back pass, just because when you are already so busy, it really reduces dishes just to those you need to cook with. Saved my sanity. Then he can clean those and also help with the laundry. I'm sorry you have to deal with this. I agree with your tactic. It's crazy though. She still has to have the mental load or do the mental load of saying, let's switch it over. She still has to do that. It wasn't even him that came up with this solution to the problem. Like, maybe let's make our lives easier by doing this. At what point are these most logical leaders going to step into that role and show and prove? Because so many people think you're just supposed to, follow. They're supposed to lead. Yay. Royal Ad asked, did he move from his mother's house into a marriage? She didn't answer, but he still is trying to give this man an out. But it doesn't matter. He has been living with her for 12 years. At one point, does it click that you need to participate and not just watch this woman that you married be frazzled and stressed and exhausted while you get to work and then decompress with your game and hobbies and whatever else? It does not matter because they have been married for 12 years. So moving straight from his mother's house into a marriage, that's still a big old gap, and it's not relevant. All right, I'm not going to do a lot of these comments, but I am going to do this one because she gave an update. She says, first of all, I've never posted on Reddit before, and I'm surprised at the amount of support and kindness. Really? Thank you. I usually just read Am I the A-holes for fun, but I needed an outside perspective because I've been feeling like I'm going crazy. He called it a petty stunt, which it was. He did some dishes, moved everything back into the kitchen to sit. He got the kids off to school this morning so I could get some rest. So that's something. To answer some questions and address some common things, we've had so many conversations about this issue. He says he will do better and he's sorry, but he hasn't changed. We have seen multiple marriage counselors over the years. No, we can't afford a dishwasher. If we could, I wouldn't be here in this situation. Sure, let's deal with the age issue. Anyone willing to let me borrow their time machine? I can regret getting married so young, but I can't exactly do anything about it. Even if we get divorced, I still get to keep the child bride title. I'm considering sharing his Twitch channel. Again, thank you all for your thoughts and kindness. So yes, she can't go back, and that's one of the things I hate about the comments. Sometimes they're like, you should have done. Well, she can't go back and undo. What is she going to do going forward? And hopefully it's clicking in her brain that she does not want to continue on like this, and she'll make some changes. But it does sound like she's going to end up getting divorced, because if she's addressed it multiple times and he just doesn't want to do anything, what can she do except accept it or move on? Anyways, let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I was tagged in this post in this child-free subreddit. She asked the question, why do conservative men constantly target child-free women? If they want a wife and kids so badly, then maybe they should go after conservative women instead. And I think we've had this discussion before. We've talked about how these men who say that they don't like feminists, who say that they cannot stand these independent minded women, why they go after more liberal leaning women or feminists or all of the things that they don't like so that they could take that woman and then shape her into what they want. But women need to know and understand that they are targeting you. They're targeting you because it's like a game where they get to smash you into submission. It's a petty game because if they wanted a conservative woman, they could go after these pick-me women that are already in alignment with their beliefs, but they don't want that. They want the woman, like this person says, it's not about babies, it's about control. A child-free woman has made choices for her life and her body. They hate that. They hate these women that have, all of these choices and they can just fly free. They want to bring women down with an anchor. Babies are an anchor. They know that. All right. Successful Doubt says a child-free woman is also better equipped to compete with them at work. Yeah, that's true. They have less outer responsibilities, do not need to be home at a certain time, stressed to go pick up kids, ask for time off for kid stuff, stay at home when the kid is sick, easier to travel for work, can take a beer after work with colleagues and network without organizing before. Not to mention the mental load and be able to focus on work. They would love us tied down with childcare. And that's another thing. The wage gap between single men and single women is much smaller if the woman doesn't have children because she is able to focus on work and she can focus on moving up. She doesn't have to worry about childcare, a sick kid, or anything. And men know this. That's the reason why they want to continue to try to limit opportunities. That's the reason why they want women to be sitting back into the office because they know that women are climbing, and they want to squish women's opportunities and financial opportunities to grow. Regular Care says more specifically, it's more fulfilling to control an independent woman because they already know that women who believe like them will already just go along to get along, or they already believe it, so there's no pushback. And it's not about finding someone that isn't a fulfilling partner and loving and supportive. No, they want to dominate. And like this person, Adeptness Round says, part is their obsession with oppression and control over others. Exactly, oppression and control, particularly women, and more particularly women who aren't already in their circle. Plus, conservative women are boring. That's obviously subjective. Child-free women usually have more going for them since their personality, unlike conservative women, isn't entirely built around being a breed sow. And the thing is, some women do make being a wife and mom their whole personality. Like literally, if those titles were stripped away, they would lose their identity. And that's one of the things that I do not like. I do believe that women should have an identity outside of just being a wife and a mother, because you were a whole human being before getting married and having children. You're still a whole human being without, you're still a whole human being. You just now have additional responsibilities. Bungles Jungle says it's this. They can't just find a conservative woman to breed. They want to make one. It's not about what she wants. It's about what he can mold her into. He doesn't want a table. He wants lumber to cut down to size. Toy Poodle Mom says, I've noticed this with some males. They fully think they can just mold us into what they want us to be. This isn't the 30s, bro. If you don't like who I am, leave. This person says, yep, my insane ex was 10 years older than me and told me he liked that I was young so he could mold me into what he wanted me to be. He was misogynistic, cruel, abusive, and lied to me about his political beliefs and stands on wanting children when we first met. Absolutely disgusting. I'm glad more women are talking about this in the public square, the public sphere, because we need to know and understand that these are red flags. These people lie. And when you start to see these lies and these red flags, you need to exit immediately because you can't build a relationship with a liar that is sustaining. Tiny Gurr says, sounds like my ex as well. The only difference is wanting children. He already had 2 adult children and he became a grandfather at the ripe old age of 42 years old. I'm so glad he's out of my life. City Starlight says, this sounded like my ex. From the beginning of our relationship, I told him I'm working to get this job. Year later, I told him I was applying. He told me he wanted to break up with me because I was planning to get the job. If only they would just go after the women that they actually want instead of just playing these games. This is the reason why they deserve to be lonelier. Mashi Bean says, also, she's got to put some resistance. It's also about domination. They want to feel like the strong alpha male that conquers and forces a woman to submit to him. It's about wanting to exert power when we strip it all down to the basics because they are powerless in the real world. So they want to dominate, oppress, and control in their home. Apocalypse Meow says, this exactly is the first thing I thought of as well. Sure, they want a trad wife, but they want to have broken her into a trad wife. That's why so many of them are obsessed with liberal or more progressive women on social media. They actively follow and stalk or spam their posts. It's sort of like the traditional idea that men love the chase. This is just a few nut job steps above that. Not all men are like this, obviously, but a lot of conservative men are, whether they want to admit it or not. It's like a kink. And then I'll end with this one. I think they are also jealous because they aren't free and happy, and they want to take that away from people who are. They do not like happy and free women. Post a happy picture of you just being single and enjoying lunch or being with some friends. Inevitably is going to be some angry male jumping into your comment section to just cut you down for no particular reason. See, that's why you alone. See, that's why you just gonna be single. You sitting up here smiling, happy, drinking some juice. They get so angry at women just for existing and living and being happy. Anyway, let me know what you think about this one. Answer the question, why do you think conservative men target child-free women? I'm going to come right out and say it. I think that we can do better with this male loneliness epidemic. I think that we can make many of them lonelier because the way that they are acting, they deserve to be lonelier. This woman posted this in the Am I Overreacting subreddit saying, am I overreacting? Dude on a dating app got mad because I didn't respond for a couple of hours because I'm sick. Like I said, a lot of these people are antisocial and don't know how to have conversation with people, don't recognize that folks have lives and are busy and can't respond right away. Let's see if we can get this loneliness epidemic. Let's see if we can make it wider. All right. I know that that's probably a bad idea considering how these people react when they're failing and flailing, but I think that they need to be lonelier before they decide to change up. Anyways, let's look at the post. Let's look at the screenshot. So here's the text message. He started at 4:30 p.m. He says, hey, I decided to go skiing this weekend. So if you're recovered by then and are still interested in a ski date, let me know and I'll try to plan for 2. Wanted to give you a heads up. Also, I've never had the flu, so I have no real idea what you're going through or what it's like. So if this is a totally unrealistic time frame for you to be recovered by then, feel free to berate me for my hope and enthusiasm. That's at 4:30. Then he says at 6:43, hey, if you don't want to take me seriously and just want people's attention and aren't going to bother responding to me, the least you could do is tell me instead of ghosting me. So he knew that she was sick. He knew. And 2 hours and 13 minutes later, he's like feeling ghosted. He says, I've been ghosted so many times. I'm sick of people not being honest with other people. 6:43, another comment. So if you're here to waste my time, well, that's your loss. She responds at 6:51. This is all still the same day, saying, I have the flu and I'm on my period. I have an autoimmune disease called lupus. So when I get sick, it hits me hard and I don't always feel like being on my phone, especially not after a long day of work. I would rather spend my time on someone who is considerate and doesn't automatically assume the worst in me. God forbid I take a nap. So that, I mean, yeah, he came out the gate swinging and showing the red flags, which is a good thing because he didn't get his way right at the exact moment, and he showed his butt. He says, "Well, crap. I'm sorry. Guess I've just royally messed up. If you don't want to bother getting to know me after this, I'll understand." So he knew he jacked up, but like she said, don't automatically assume the worst in people. Just give her a chance, especially if you know someone is sick. This just goes to show that some of these people are not empathetic enough to understand what it's like to live in someone else's shoes. He said he's never had the flu. Okay, cool. But 2 hours and you feel like you've been ghosted, that is a really dramatic jump. Better Ranger says, assuming you ghosted after 2 hours is wild. I'd pass on this dude. I would as well. Now, this is a man, Ungus Chungus. He says, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy so powerful that the cycle could power a small city. I thought that was kind of funny. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy, though. He says, get ghosted, spin out about it, act weird to the next girl, get ghosted, act weird to the third girl. Don't get ghosted, but turn her off by assuming you have, return to one. He needs to chill the F out, step away from the phone, son. Hard to do these days, I admit. Oh, look, another plane crash. It really is hard. Yeah, social media does have your attention, and these apps do keep you glued on there, so I completely understand. But sometimes you have to just kind of have a life. You put a note out there, you put a comment out there, and then you come back to it. You got to chill out. You can't just be stuck waiting on someone to respond immediately. Amazing Essay says, years back, scientists did some studies with flies regarding alcohol consumption and rejection. I don't remember who it was by. I may be able to find it if I looked. Anyway, the study explored the reason why some people seem to repeatedly do things that cause them to be rejected. And they found that just like in gambling addiction, the rejection had a way of inhibiting dopamine receptors, similar to a gambling addict who loses all their money, then goes right back to gambling. Another example are flashers, or men who send unsolicited peen pics, or who say or do obscene things that people will hate them for. They are quite literally addicted to the high of meeting someone new and also to the low of being rejected, which is why people like flashers often feel an impulsive urge to do so, even though logically they know the other person won't take it well. So you're absolutely right. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that they are doing at a subconscious level. Additionally, because they are so insecure, they will do whatever it takes to not take accountability for their actions. So the cycle repeats. People like this are self-deprecating in an attempt to garner sympathy from others. We need to say that again. People like this are self-deprecating in an attempt to garner sympathy from others. So do not feel bad for them. They're doing this to garner sympathy. Claiming to always be the victim, and therefore, due to their issues, they will continue to repeat the cycle and will be trapped in the nice guy victim mode where women are evil and they are the reason he can't get laid. That is such a self-fulfilling cycle. And this is a long-winded way to get to that point. But I do believe that they are the reason for their own unhappiness. And that's why they keep themselves in that Encelosaurus victimhood mode. And that's the reason why they are going to continue to be lonely. Adventurous Ad says, you see this a lot on Nice Guy Subs. They define ghosting as anything more than a few minutes. It's bizarre. And then Jewel says, oh God, I've experienced this many times too. Men getting really impatient and assuming I'm ghosting and never going to answer when I'm actually working, on a long drive, out with friends, or on a hike. Besides taking photos, LOL, okay, maybe a bit of Pokemon Go too. I make a point to not be answering messages or checking social media while I'm out living life. The way I see it, if you prioritize very rapid responses at any given time, you're setting yourself to only spend time with people glued to their phones. And I also get the feeling that these jabronis would have something to say about vapid women and social media when everyone they date is always on their phone, but they've effectively filtered out anyone who has good phone boundaries. That's kind of a good thing, not responding right away. That way you don't get people trained to know, or you don't get trained to just respond rapidly. That way they don't expect you to respond right away. Ocean Spice at the bottom says, I'm really convinced some people on dating apps have no concept of time. I had a guy blow up on me like this too after about 10 minutes of no reply because I was cooking dinner after I had just told him I was about to make dinner. Now, when these men don't get their way exactly when they're supposed to, and they act like this and they do it early, that is a great sign to leave these people alone, because they have no impulse control and they're not going to be ready to be in an adult situation. They are like children, like babies who need that piece of candy right now, and they can't wait, and they're going to throw a tantrum until they get what they want. Absolutely not. They needed to be trained a little bit better in how to be an adult and have some patience. They're going to have to get a book on that, because it is not your job to teach them. Anyways, let me know what you think about this one. Join the conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.